Hey guys, it's Julia back with another video. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. The video that I'm filming today is a little bit different than a usual video I would film. I feel like my channel is this very upbeat, fun place where you guys can just come to get away from like reality and stuff. I don't know, that's just how I picture my channel being. But I just feel like I owe it to myself to make this video. I don't really speak about this on my channel a lot, but the day you guys will be watching this, which is the 4th of July, marks the 2-year anniversary of my mother passing away from cancer. When she did pass away, I feel like I leaned on a lot of videos like this a lot because it honestly felt good to relate to other people, having comfort and knowing that other people are also going through similar situations and that there are people that you can talk to. Before we get in this video, I do want to say that all my DMs are open, so if you do want to talk to me about something like this, definitely like DM me. In this video, I'm pretty much going to be talking about what people don't tell you about losing a loved one and things that like people wouldn't expect, whether it's you trying to relate to someone or trying to understand what somebody else is going through so you can help them. This video is just my personal experiences of losing my mother. Quick disclaimer before you get into this video, I'm not making this video for attention or try to gain sympathy from you guys. I just want to share some of the things that I went through and maybe hopefully, fingers crossed, this can help somebody else. So I feel like one of the first things that happened was there was just a lot of denial within me. You don't want to accept the fact that this person is gone. Even before she died, I just feel like she was like my mom, so I never ever pictured her like dying. Like, you know how your parents are kind of like your superheroes and such? Even knowing like she had cancer, I just never thought she was gonna die. It's just something that's engraved in your brain, like your parents are invincible. Obviously in the back of my head, like I knew, but you wouldn't think that something like this would happen to you. When they do pass away, it's like also denial and like you just can't accept the reality, and it's not because you don't want to accept the reality, it's just something so hard to grasp. So I feel like denial was one of the first things that was just something that I didn't think I would have to go through. I think another thing that I experienced that I honestly didn't like imagine experience was the grief. I feel like grief is different for everyone, but especially for me, I imagined grief being way different than it actually was. I guess in my head when I imagined it like as soon as she died, I was gonna like have this like huge hit of sadness, and I feel like I imagined time healing it, and like even 2 years later, like right now, I wouldn't feel as much as I do. In reality, I just feel like it was the complete opposite. I feel like in the beginning I was more motivated. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do everything for her, I'm gonna live my life for her. And then the more that time went on, the more I guess I processed what was actually happening, and then the harder it was to like grasp. Sometimes I would make jokes about it, which is completely like wrong, I get it, but I coped with humor, and I guess grief was just a completely different experience that I ever imagined it being, and like things happen at completely different periods than I thought they would. Another thing that people don't tell you is that you're always gonna have regrets. There is no such thing as losing someone, like this big part of your life, and then you won't have regrets. And as much as people go around saying, oh, I don't have regrets, I don't live with regrets, it's something that's so permanent that there's always gonna be things in the back of your head that you wish you did differently. As you grow up, you're gonna look back and be like, wow, I wish I was there more, I wish I said this, or I wish I did that. There's always gonna be that little part of you that regrets some things or wish you did something differently. I think one of the hardest things about losing somebody that nobody tells you is that the world just keeps moving. Everyone moves on. Like there will be a point when you first lose someone that everyone is there, everyone is around you, everyone is seeing if you're okay. But then as time goes on, people slowly move on and everybody slowly starts to live their life. You're just stuck in this bubble and you just feel like you're being dragged along with the world, and you just need the world to stop, but it doesn't. It just keeps going. You're still stuck there months later thinking about it. You're still stuck there years later thinking about it. I feel like another thing is you never like expect it to be as hard as it actually is. Everyone has this imagination of life, like knowing that losing somebody is gonna be hard, but I feel like unless you've really gone through it, you just don't know how hard it's actually gonna be. Especially if you lost somebody you would see on a daily basis, it's a whole new adjustment to life. I had this like imagination, like yeah, it would be hard, like if she died, it would be hard, I would miss her, but like life goes on, right? But when I did lose her, it was just like like a whole different experience. Just guess I didn't realize how like permanent things were, which I guess it ties into like the next thing, which this is like the first permanent thing I've ever had to deal with. Like everybody knows that the only permanent thing in life is death. That's the only promised thing in life. Nothing else is promised. It's one of those things that like experience, it changes your whole perspective on it, because now you lost someone and you actually have to grip permanency. You have to feel permanency for the first time. You can know it's gonna happen eventually, but when it does happen, it's this whole new feeling and it opens a whole new window of how you actually feel. Permanency is one of the hardest things to think about, because thinking about never seeing whoever you may have lost again is one of the hardest things to wrap your fingers around, which I guess kind of ties into like another thing, which is you're always gonna hope for the day you see them again. Every single day I hope for the day that I get to see her, or I hope for the day she'll just walk through the door and just like surprise and just things like that. I wait every single day and it's never gonna come. It helps a lot having that thought in your head, knowing that maybe one day you will be able to see them again, and I feel like that's something that does keep me going, which is something I never thought I would be feeling. I thought like once she died I'd be like, oh yeah, she's dead, like it is what it is, but you always can't wait for the day you're gonna be able to see the person again. Something else that I never really expected to feel was the thought of them fading away, or memories of them, or like I guess forgetting about them is one of the scariest things ever, because I never want to like forget my mom's smile. I never want to forget all the things we did together. I never want to forget little things she says. Like it's stuff like that that as you grow up you hope and hope and hope that you'll never forget. I don't ever want to grow up and be like, oh yeah, my mom passed away at a young age, I don't really remember much about her. Like I don't ever want to feel that. I don't ever want to experience that. I guess this is something that I never thought about with loss. The hardest moments are the most unexpected ones. You brace yourself and you prepare yourself for every holiday, every birthday, and people are always reaching out to you on holidays, birthdays, special occasions, like all that stuff. They're still hard, don't get me wrong, but they're just less hard than the unexpected moments, like the moments where you're just doing something and the world hits you with a memory that you maybe forgot about or that you weren't thinking about in the moment, and it hits you and it just tears you down. Like little things, like my mom used to always wake me up, walk in my room, open the shades, sit down, talk to me. She would do that every single morning. So one day I woke up and I just remembered that, and it was the hardest thing ever. So it's just like the little things, like don't expect that would hurt as bad as they do, but in reality they hurt more than things that you would think would hurt. I feel like another thing that happened to me, which I kind of did feel like would happen, but I never really like thought, like life becomes way more valuable and things that like were important to you just suddenly become less important to you, and not like in an unmotivational way, and life becomes so much more valuable. Like I feel like every day I think about my future, and I think when I wake up like I want to live this day to the fullest. I want to do every possible thing so that if I did die tomorrow, I love my life and stuff like that. And people always are like, why are you always trying to make plans every single day? And it's because one of those things that like now I know how valuable life is. Now I know that in a week my life could be over, or anyone I love's life could just end, and I never really had that in my head. Like I always knew that that was a thing before my mom died, but when my mom died it's something that I actually was able to realize and like process better. This might sound dark, but every single day is like a closer day to death, which sucks, but it's a reality that we have to live in, and losing my mom really did help me realize that. Another thing is that it's something you always have to deal with. Granted, you know it's something you're always gonna have to deal with, but I feel like people are like, time will fix everything, you'll feel better after time. Time does heal, but time doesn't fix. The loss is never just gonna like not be a part of your life anymore. It's always gonna be an everyday struggle and something that you do have to deal with. I think another thing that happened was it really made me realize like how serious things are, and even in a way I guess traumatized me. I always knew cancer was a bad thing. I always knew cancer could kill and but I just feel like it was one of those things that you never expect are gonna happen to you. Like once it did happen to my mom and I like saw her pass away from cancer, it just made me realize how like serious something is, how this disease literally can take over somebody's body. And then I saw my mom take her last breath and all that stuff. I'm happy I was there, but at the same time it's like seeing somebody you care about so much take their last breath is one of the things that like you will never forget, and in a way it's scary, it's traumatizing, and I think about it a lot. And losing somebody is a very traumatizing experience, which is not something that I really like expected to be traumatizing. Another thing that happened is I had to just grow up a little when it happened. I had to mature a little. Like don't get me wrong, I'm still a kid with growing up, up, like things a lot of kids find important just didn't seem important to me as much. And I'm not trying to say this in like a bragging way, like, oh yes, I grew up faster. It's something that I wish I didn't have to deal with. Experiencing something so huge at such a young age really did force me to grow up. Another thing that happened, which I really didn't think would happen, was it really does show you like who is there for you. People who you may have not talked to in years will reach out to you, or maybe you've never even met will reach out to you and see if you're okay and stuff like that. Some super close people to you, like even people that in the moment I was having like problems with, I guess, or in the moment I wasn't really talking to, they were the people that I still expected to say something, but they didn't, and I felt like that really just showed me like who really did care about me, and it gave me a better perspective of who was really there for me and who gave a shit about me rather than who was just there for me for my presence. Another thing is, now that I know how it feels to really lose someone that was there, the thought of losing somebody else like that just breaks my heart. Another thing is that subconsciously you'll still talk about them like they're still alive, and it's a really weird thing to think of. In your head, they're still there. Like instead of saying, oh yeah, my mom was a great person, oh yeah, my mom is a great person, which is something really weird that I've had to like figure out. Another thing is, heaven became a very more realistic thing to me once my mom died, because I can't imagine her being anywhere else. I can't imagine my mom being just like dead. I heard someone say that heaven really wasn't a place until my mom did die, and it is true because I don't know where else I could imagine my mom. The last thing that I wanted to touch on is a lot of people think after losing someone that you won't want to talk about them. Like when people ask me about my mom, they're like, oh, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. For me, it's not awkward like bringing up my mom. I try to bring her up honestly a lot, and it sucks sometimes because people get uncomfortable when I bring her up, but I don't want people to feel uncomfortable because I feel like talking about her helps me remember her and helps me keep her alive. So when people do ask me about her, in fact, I like really love talking about it. Like even like the hard moments, I do enjoy talking about it because it keeps her memory alive. Like making this video about her and like about my experience just honestly makes me feel like really good, because it makes me feel like she's still alive and her memory is still alive. I want to help other people. I want her to still be able to have an impact. I hope this video helped you in any sort of way. I hope this video could have helped. If you do want to DM me to talk about anything, definitely do. My DMs are always open. My videos will be upbeat from here on out. I just felt like it was the 4th of July, and I feel like now that I am doing YouTube on a very more consistent level, I feel like it's something that I owed my mom, or I owed myself, I guess, to do. I love you guys so unbelievably much, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this video was able to help somebody. Peace out.